It began in the dark recesses of the universe, a place where evil thrived and chaos reigned. Hell's eternal fires burned hot, and among its most fearsome inhabitants was Etrigan the Demon. A cursed soul bound to the mortal Jason blood, Etrigan served as the sword of hell, a master of magic, a powerhouse of brutality, and a creature driven by the fiery rage of the infernal realms. Yet even in his domain of terror, whispers of a challenge began to swirl. The rumors were of Lobo, the main man, a Czarnian bounty hunter infamous across galaxies for his unparalleled brutality and immortality. Lobo was a force that few dared to confront. He had no master, no allegiance, and no moral code. Driven only by a thirst for violence and an unrelenting love for carnage, Lobo had hunted the most dangerous beings in existence. Now, his sights were set on something few dared to pursue, a contract from hell itself. The tale began when Lobo intercepted a celestial envoy on the outer rim of a crumbling galaxy. The envoy, a trembling, shimmering figure of light, begged for mercy. It carried a warning about a growing conflict in the supernatural realms, a war brewing between the forces of heaven and hell. Etrigan, it warned, was preparing to tear through the barriers of reality itself and unleash hell on Earth. But Lobo didn't care for warnings. What caught his attention was the glint of a sigil in the envoy's possession, a mark that belonged to Lucifer himself. Hell's offering a contract, eh? Lobo sneered, puffing a cigar as he loomed over the trembling creature. Guess the main man's got to pay a visit downstairs. With a flick of his chain, Lobo obliterated the envoy and commandeered a dimensional portal. If Hell was hiring, he wanted in. He'd face the infamous Etrigan, collect his bounty, and add another notch to his already impressive belt. Meanwhile, in the deepest pits of hell, Etrigan sat on a throne of bones, his fiery eyes scanning the legions of demons bowing before him. Jason Blood's mortal form had been silent for days, allowing Etrigan to revel in his dominion. The balance between earth and hell had begun to shift, and Etrigan's ambitions burned hotter than ever. Suddenly, a ripple in the infernal energy pierced the air. A portal crackled open, and from it emerged Lobo, his hulking frame covered in his iconic leather vest, spiked boots, and smirk that screamed trouble. He dragged his chain behind him, its steel links glowing with residual energy from the interdimensional jump. So, Lobo barked, lighting another cigar. "You're the big bad demon I'm supposed to take down? Gotta say, you look like you've been dipped in mustard and left out to rot." Etrigan rose, his voice booming like thunder. "You dare to tread where mortals fall, to Hell's dominion, to Etrigan's hall. You'll find no mercy, no respite here. Prepare for pain, for death draws near." Lobo cracked his knuckles, unimpressed. "Rhyme all you want, pal. The main man's here to cash in. Let's dance." As the two titans squared off, hell itself seemed to tremble. Demons scattered to the edges of the pit, eager to witness the clash of two unstoppable forces. On one side stood Etrigan, his fists burning with hellfire, his ancient magic coursing through the air. On the other, Lobo, unflinching, with his absurd strength and indomitable will. But this wasn't just a battle of fists. This was a clash of wills, of ideologies. Etrigan, a servant of Hell's order, sought to uphold the balance of power in the underworld. Lobo, a creature of pure chaos, embodied the antithesis of order, a man who thrived on breaking the rules and watching the pieces fall. The stage was set. Hell's fiery winds howled in anticipation as Lobo drew his chain and Etrigan summoned, a sword forged from the bones of fallen angels. Their battle would shake not just hell, but the very fabric of the multiverse, and it was only just beginning.
Are you just watching?
Subscribe, please.
Lobo didn't waste a second. With a feral roar, he launched himself at Etrigan, swinging his chain in a wide arc. The links, infused with energy from the Czarnian's unnatural strength, cut through the dense, sulphurous air of hell like a comet, blazing across the sky. Etrigan leapt to meet him, his infernal blade glowing with hellfire as he parried the blow. The resulting clash sent a shockwave that tore through the chamber, shattering ancient stalactites and sending lesser demons fleeing in terror. Not bad for a walking corpse. Lobo grinned as he whipped his chain back, sparks flying from the impact, but the main man ain't here for a sparring match. Etrigan didn't reply with words. Instead, he spat a torrent of hellfire that engulfed Lobo, the flames roaring hotter than any mortal forge. Lobo emerged from the blaze unscathed, laughing maniacally as the flames licked at his skin. Cute trick, Mustard Man, but I've been through worse barbecues than this. Lobo lunged again, his chain aimed for Etrigan's neck. The demon sidestepped. With supernatural speed, his blade slicing upward in a devastating arc. It caught Lobo's midsection, drawing black blood that hissed and steamed as it hit the ground. Lobo barely flinched, using the momentum to wrap his chain around Etrigan's arm and yank him forward. The two collided with bone-crunching force, a whirlwind of fists, steel and flame. Lobo's punches hit like meteors, each one sending shockwaves through Etrigan's armored frame. But the demon retaliated with strikes that burned with the weight of hell's fury, his claws raking deep gashes into Lobo's chest. The ground beneath them began to crumble under the sheer force of their battle. They tumbled into one of hell's deeper pits, landing amidst a field of jagged obsidian. Lobo grabbed a shard the size of a small tree and hurled it at Etrigan, who shattered it with a blast of magic. Your strength is vast, your fury strong, but against hell's might, you won't last long. Lobo rolled his eyes. Enough with the poems, you overgrown candle. Time to end this. Lobo reached into his arsenal, pulling out a plasma grenade that crackled with volatile energy. He hurled it at Etrigan, who raised his arms to block the explosion. The blast sent a shockwave that flattened the obsidian field and sent firestorms spiraling into the air. When the smoke cleared, Etrigan stood, singed but unbroken, his eyes glowing with renewed rage. Your toys are weak, your resolve a joke. Now taste my wrath and hell's dark cloak. Etrigan unleashed a spell, ancient words of power echoing through the pit. Chains of hellfire erupted from the ground, ensnaring Lobo's arms and legs. They burned hotter than any star, but Lobo, the indomitable Czarnian, flexed his muscles and snapped them like brittle twigs. Oh, you're gonna pay for that. Lobo snarled, leaping forward with a bone-shattering headbutt that sent Etrigan reeling. The demon staggered but recovered quickly, his claws slashing at Lobo's face, leaving deep, jagged marks. The two combatants locked in a brutal grapple, their roars shaking the very foundations of hell. It was a clash of brute strength against demonic cunning, an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. Lobo's strength seemed infinite, his body shrugging off wounds that would kill lesser beings. But Etrigan had the power of hell at his command, and with every strike, his attacks grew more ferocious, more desperate. Finally, Lobo managed to gain the upper hand. He wrapped his chain around Etrigan's throat and pulled tight, lifting the demon off the ground. Time to say goodnight, you ugly son of a... Before Lobo could finish, Etrigan's eyes flared with infernal energy. With a guttural roar, he unleashed a final desperate burst of hellfire, engulfing both of them in a massive explosion. When the flames subsided, both warriors lay in a smoking crater, battered and bloodied but still alive. Lobo dragged himself to his feet, grinning through a bloodied mouth. Not bad, big guy, but next time maybe try hitting a little harder. Etrigan rose slowly, his body healing as he stood. You've proven strong, your will unbent, but Hell's dominion is where you're sent. Lobo wiped the blood from his chin and laughed. Good luck with that. The main man doesn't die. See you around, Mustard Boy. And with that, Lobo turned and walked away, his swagger unbroken, leaving Etrigan to seethe in the depths of hell. The battle had no clear victor, but the legend of their clash would echo through eternity.